Exciting news! The free Rainbow Push mobile app is ready for download. Get all the news and schedules for the upcoming convention and more. Go to the Rainbow Push homepage at www.rainbowpush.org to download app today. Noticias importantes. La aplicación móvil y gratis de Rainbow Push está lista para utilizar. Obtengan todas las noticias y horarios para la próxima convención y mucho más. Visiten la página de inicio de Rainbow Push en www.rainbowpush.org para descargar la aplicación hoy. Register today for the Rainbow Push Coalition and Citizenship Education Fund's 46th Annual International Convention, Wednesday, July 12th through July 15th, 2017, at the Hilton and Towers in Chicago, Illinois. The theme this year is Heal and Rebuild. For further information, go to www.rainbowpush.org or call 773-373-3366. July 12th through July 15th, 2017, Chicago, Illinois.
Good morning, Rainbow Push. Good morning, good morning, good morning, wherever you're watching us all over the world. Welcome to the Rainbow Push Coalition. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Periscope. We're live on YouTube. You can go to us at rainbowpush.org and click, and you can catch us live on Rainbow Push. You go to rainbowpush.org and get us live on Facebook. Click Facebook, or you can get us live on Periscope, or you can get us live on YouTube. And you are listening to us on WVON Radio, iHeartMedia. Come on, text somebody, tweet somebody, connect to the Rainbow Push Coalition. This morning, we dedicate our broadcast to the victims of Times Square. We dedicate our broadcast to one of our founding members, Mr. Charles B. Pinckney of Pinckney Perry Insurance Company. We thank you for the service of Mr. Pinckney and his company, all that they've done for this organization. We're praying for the family and for the business. We invite you to tune in now. Join us wherever you are. We're welcoming the Orr basketball team, the Morgan Park basketball team, Whitney Young basketball team. All of them are Illinois State high school basketball champions. They join us today. We celebrate them. We're excited. For those of you who are watching us, tell your friends, call your friends, text your friends, let them know we're no longer on the Word Network. We are, however, live on Facebook. We are, however, streaming live from our Rainbow Push website. We can be reached on YouTube. We can be reached on Periscope. You don't want to miss this broadcast. Don't let your friends and family miss us. Text somebody, tweet somebody. We have Bishop Joseph Bryan here all the way from Los Angeles. Our national sports director is here. We're excited about today. We're celebrating teachers. We're celebrating athletes. You might want to stay, tune in, join us as our Push Choir, our first exposure to our children's choir as they sing in their own way. Sing, y'all. Go ahead.
I am a mountain, I am a tall tree, oh, I am a swift wind, sweeping the country. I am a river, down in the valley, oh, I am a vision, and I can see clearly. If anybody asks you who I am, just stand up tall, look them in the face and say, I'm that star up in the sky, I'm that mountain peak up high. Hey, I made it, I'm the world's greatest, I'm that little bit of a mountain. I am a tall tree. Oh, I am a swift wind, sweeping the country. I am a river down in the valley. Oh, I am a vision, and I can see clearly. If anybody asks you who I am, just stand up tall, look them in the face and say, I'm that star up in the sky, I'm that mountain peak up high. Hey, I made it, I'm the world's greatest. I'm that little bit of hope when my back's against the ropes. I can feel it, I'm the world's greatest. In the ring of life, I'll bring love, and the world will notice my king. Where there is darkness, I'll shine the light, and the mirrors of success reflect in me. I'm that star up in the sky, I'm that mountain peak up. Hey, I made it. I'm the world's greatest. I'm that little bit of hope when my back's against the wall. I can feel it. I'm the world's greatest. I'm that star up in the sky. I'm that mountain peak up high. Hey, I made it. I can feel it. I'm the world's greatest. That little bit of hope when my back's against the wall. I can feel it. I'm the world's greatest. The greatest. I can feel it. He's 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 the greatest. I'm that mountain peak up high. Hey, I made it. I'm the world's greatest. I'm that little bit of hope when my back's against the wall. I can feel it. I'm the world's
Give our children's choir a round of applause. This is what happens if we had art and music in our public schools. We can feature our young people. Today we commemorate and remember Brown versus the Board of Education, a case that changed the course of education and public accommodations more than 63 years ago. We have a young man who has been one of the lawyers on these school desegregation cases, and he's going to explain to us the real meaning of Brown versus the Board of Education and why today we're focused very much on a high-quality public education for every child. Won't you greet warmly Attorney Louis Myers.
Now, before I start, we got to give a little better response and applause. Isn't this a wonderful young people? But come on now, let's give it to them. Anytime that our children can exhibit their talents and their skills and let us know what they're capable of and qualified for, we ought to be able to praise them. Reverend Jackson, thank you so very much for giving us this opportunity today to mention and talk about Brown versus Board of Education. 1896, the United States Supreme Court issued an order and a ruling saying that education in America could be separate, but it was supposed to be equal. That case was Plessy versus Ferguson. That was enshrined into law that you could discriminate as long as it was equal. Many, many years later, in 1954, the United States Supreme Court found that separate education in America was not equal. that it discriminated against African Americans in the public education system. The Supreme Court declared in 1954 that segregation in public education was illegal, unconstitutional, and violated the 14th Amendment. Now, many people thought that after 1954 that segregation was a dead issue for America. Everything would be fine within 10 years. The noted author Harold Cruz wrote a book called Plural But Unequal and said that many blacks thought that by 1963 that they would literally be free after Brown versus Board of Education. Well, I'm here to tell you today, 63 years later, public education in America, in the city of Chicago, is more segregated today than it was in 1954. Let me say that again. These young people with all of this skill, all of this talent that you hear, many of them are still in a segregated school system where they do not get the equal access to education, equal access to opportunity that they need to get. Now, where do we go from here? 63 years later, Chicago public school system, ladies and gentlemen, whether you like it or not, it is segregated because today it's Hispanics and blacks are the majority of the school district. Whites have demobilized and moved out of the city and gone to other places. We have a tremendous challenge ahead of us. Attorney Jeanette Wilson correctly stated that at the end of the day, there are some things we have to address, and I'm going to mention a few of them. Number one, our schools, public schools, African-American schools still don't have basic supplies. We don't have swimming pools. This is, Reverend Jackson, this is the Naperville phenomenon, you know, where they have technology and they have swimming pools and they have access to multiple facets of educational advancement. In the inner cities, in the black ghettos, and in the black metropolitan areas, we don't have that. Number two, our classrooms are overcrowded. Had a young kid tell me yesterday, he is about 9 years old, and in his classroom there are 40 students in the public school system because it's predominantly African American. Our classrooms, many of them are unsanitary and they have bad conditions. Many of them are incompetent to address the trauma. We cannot ignore that 63 years after Brown versus Board of Education, our public school systems, particularly in metropolitan areas, are racked with violence. And we have to do something because that's a part of what the problem is. How do we make it equal? Kids have to have an equal psychological opportunity to develop and do what they have to do without feeling that they would be killed on their way home. And then, of course, lastly, segregation is still very much in Chicago. We have to treat segregation as a major problem just like we treat voting rights now. The Voting Rights Act has been nullified for all practical purposes. Reverend Jackson and the Rainbow Push are leading movements across the country to ensure that African American citizens have the right to vote, where they don't have to show voter IDs. But what are we going to do to ensure that African American children have the right to a fair, an equal, and a just education? That is our challenge. Brown versus Board of Education is dead, but our strength to move on is very much alive. Thank you.
As we continue to focus on the impact of Brown, we have young people who not only sing and perform, we have a Push Excel oratorical competition that is better than any in the world. We have Allison Felder, a young third grader who has the unique pleasure of presenting her oratorical presentation, and she will be the one to introduce the next speaker that you will hear. Greet her warmly, little Allison Felder.
Hello, I would like to recite the lyrics of the song Racism Has to Go, previously performed by Rainbow Push. Sometimes I sit and ask myself how different things might be. If I were a lighter shade or a different ethnicity, would I be treated just the same as I am treated now? It seems like being black makes me a target somehow. How can you hate someone you don't even know? All forms of prejudice are unacceptable. This is bigger than black and white. You see, it's about wrong and right. Racism has to go. If racism does not exist, then how can you explain 9 people being gunned down in church, 9 people slain? They welcomed him with open arms. They shared the love of Christ. But in return, he pulled out a gun and took all their lives. How can you hate someone you don't even know? All forms of prejudice are unacceptable. This is bigger than black and white. You see, it's about wrong and right. Racism has to go. United we stand, divided we fall. You can be black, white, brown, or red. It applies to us all. No one should be disliked because of the color of their skin. This has gone long enough. Something has got to give. How can you hate someone you don't even know? All forms of prejudice are unacceptable. This is bigger than black and white. You see, it's about wrong and right. Racism has to go. Prejudice has to go. Bigotry has to go. Racism has to go. Has got to go. Before I sit down, I would like to introduce our sage leader, Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson Sr. Let's give him a round of applause.
Sing a little louder than before. I'ma scream a little louder than before. Come on, I'ma love more and more and more. Hey, everybody shout free, freedom. Shout freedom, freedom. Come on, shout freedom. Everybody, put your hands together. We're free today. Yeah.
Put your hands together. Freedom. Say, I am somebody. I am somebody. I am somebody. Respect me. Protect me. Never neglect me. I am somebody. I am God's child. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop the violence. Save the children. Red and yellow. Brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. Everybody is somebody. Everybody is somebody. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Let me hear you scream.
Everybody shout. Come on. Freedom. 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 Come on. Let me see your clap. Say freedom. Freedom. Hey, freedom. Freedom.
Put your hands together. Put your hands together. We are so delighted to be with you again today here at Rainbow Push. like us on Twitter, Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. Like me on Facebook, Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. We're talking to you around the world today. Next week we'll be on live television. Next week we'll be on another station. We'll be right back here around the world. Say around the world. Say around the world. Around the world we go. Stop violence. Stop racism. Now. Stop violence. Stop racism. Now. End war. Now. End war. Now let me hear you scream like you really mean that. I want to express thanks that we have our champion with 3 championship teams from Chicago this year, Whitney the Young. Sit down, Whitney the Young. Sit down, Whitney the Young. Give it up for Whitney the Young. Give it up for Whitney the Young. From the Great White Wall, stand up R Academy. R, stand up R. Give it up for the R from the West Side. And Morgan Park. Give it up, Mark. Give it up, give it up. These are our champions. BC, we're going to give them bags today. We're going to give them jackets at the convention this summer. We're going to help with their coaches to get them into college. So our children must go to college. Playing ball is not all we do. Legs, they run us indoors, must have minds to keep us there. We will not accept March Madness to play ball and May Sadness and don't graduate. So we'll play ball and graduate. Put your hands together. Play ball and graduate. Before bringing on Reverend Joseph Bryant from San Francisco for a moment, our Rainbow Push Convention is July 12th through the 15th. We're convening our family in the face of our quest. Wherever you are around the country, we must fight for automatic voter registration. In Illinois alone, if Governor Ron signs automatic, it means 2 million people be on the books automatically. 50 million in America. We should not have to say when I'm born, there is a birth certificate. When I die, there is a death certificate. At the age 18, there should be a voter certificate. Talk to me, somebody. Talk to me. Talk to me. As Trump's partner, Mr. Sessions, tried to cut back on voting and voting access, he said that the right to vote led by Dr. King and John Lewis and Jose Williams was intrusion on his state's rights. And said, we will not last Trump. We will not last Trump. We will not last Trump. So Trump is in for a season. Say, we will outlast this season. We're in the throes now of a great countercultural revolution. A countercultural revolution. Our struggle was about Montgomery. This one's about Moscow. A countercultural revolution. The attempt to undermine the right to vote. A countercultural revolution. A move to undermine equal opportunity and denying gender equality. A countercultural revolution. Student loan debt going up again. A countercultural revolution. A disregard for environmental security. So we are not going back. We're not going back. So that Wednesday, the focus will be, we're going to have the Wednesday Small Business Day. At noontime, Breon from Percentage from Intel, that they will have business all over America here that day, fighting for our share of contracts and jobs. That night, our educational banquet. On Thursday, at our labor breakfast, Don will be speaking. The head of the DNC will be speaking that morning. On Thursday morning, at noontime, Reverend Barbara from North Carolina will address our ministers group. Reverend Freddie Haynes, ministers from around the nation on that Wednesday. That night is our athletic banquet. We're honoring these young champions that night. Reverend Dr. Joe will tell you more about that. Friday, we're honoring Aretha Franklin. Say Aretha Franklin. honoring Aretha that day, and she deserves it so much for honoring Elizabeth Warren. Will speak to us, and Maxine Waters. And Maxine Waters. We expect tonight to have a big debate between the candidates running for governor of this state as we get ready to fight out the battle to win back Virginia and New Jersey. And that's sad, it's 50 years since Dick Hatcher became mayor of Gary and Carl Stokes from Cleveland, so we have work to do. Before I bring on our keynote speaker for today, I want Reverend Joseph Bryant, who is the pastor of Mount Calvary Baptist Church in San Francisco, who is the field secretary for Rainbow Push in the Western region, and the chair of the head of Faith and Sports Tech. Reverend, come on, Reverend Joseph Bryant.
Good morning, Push family. Good morning, Push family. It's a blessing to be here today, and we thank God for the continued visionary leadership of our phenomenal founder. Can you give it up for Reverend Jesse Jackson, ladies and gentlemen? Come on, let's hear it for Reverend Jackson. Come on, we can do better than that for Reverend Jackson today. On this day where we celebrate these young champions, we also celebrate him as a champion of justice and equality, fairness. All over this world, Reverend Jackson's voice continues to resound. A few years ago, he was in Silicon Valley as we were going to shareholder meetings for some of the top technology companies, and then we had a Faith and Push Tech conference, and Reverend Jackson sent out the clarion call to those companies that it's important for us to make a paradigm shift, that some of the churches around our nation that have empty Sunday school spaces should open up their doors and have technology centers and computer labs right there in the local church. And from that clarion call, Reverend Jackson's voice was heard by some of our partners in Silicon Valley, and they have joined forces with Rainbow Push, where we now are operating around this country 20 Faith Tech technology labs and computer centers from Atlanta to the West Coast. Come on, give it up for Reverend Jackson's vision. And to all of you who are watching us today, what a blessing it is, because you are the product of this technology movement. I saw the young people today in our breakfast. They had out their phones. They were watching YouTube videos. They were doing Facebook Live and all the wonderful things technology brings to us. You're watching us today via Facebook Live and Periscope. Churches need to know how to take advantage of technology, how to develop the young people in their churches to learn coding and apps, because that is the wave of our now and our future. And if churches are going to be relevant and continue to make an impact, we must preach the good news of Jesus and open up the doors for new jobs. Can the church say amen? And technology is the path, and so Reverend Jackson's vision is being supported. And so as a part of our Push convention, we want you to keep in mind that technology is a centerpiece of what we're doing. And likewise, because of the role we play in sports, sports and technology has married their forces and creative genius. And so around this country, we see so many things happening with drones and virtual reality. And our sports tech platform, we've had the San Francisco Giants, we've had the NFL and other organizations join with us in Silicon Valley to help former athletes to have another opportunity, a second career after the days of playing are over. That's a part of vision that Reverend Jackson has given, life beyond the playing field. And now they're able to use their expertise as ambassadors. They're able to use their expertise as content advisors to these tech companies, getting second careers for those that can't shoot a ball anymore, can't slam dunk anymore. Well, they can sit down in the lab with technologists and learn how to run plays and how to screen, and they can literally monitor the way things are happening as they're happening on the court. The Golden State Warriors even sent in one of their consultants to us earlier this year, and they showed us how they're able to track the movement of Steph Curry during the game and then give a program picture to the coach right after the play is made using technology. And so here, even at Rainbow Push, we applaud the vision of Reverend Jackson. We applaud the work of our STEM program here. But more than that, on July 13th, we want everyone to be a part of our sports night. We're recognizing some phenomenal people. Bernard King, the former scorer and NBA Hall of Famer from the New York Knicks, will be recognized that night. He's become a business executive, and he is a consultant for Wall Street companies. We want to record him for life beyond the playing field. Dr. Lloyd Walton, former NBA player, Marquette genius, who is able to help to ensure that players in college get a fair chance to be successful on and off the court. He will be recognized. We have 6 former NFL and NBA players that have written books about life beyond the playing field. They're doing a signing event during our sports night on July 13th. We've also sent invitations out to folks like Colin Kaepernick and Molly Querim from ESPN, Jamel Hill and Michael Smith, Chris Broussard, and others who are making impact both on and off the court. So we ask you to support our sports night on July 13th for the Push Convention. Go to rainbowpush.org. It's going to be phenomenal. Get your ticket, get a table, sponsor some of these young people to be there, because we want to let them know that they can be winners on and off the field. Thank you, and God bless you.
Well, R high, stand R high, stand R. Come up here on the stage, come up here R. Morgan Park, stand. Come right on, Morgan Park. Whitney Young, stand. Come up here, guys, and give them a big hand. Jonathan, give them a big hand. So, Sister Jeanette, when the program is over today, we're going to give them, I want you to see them, give them a big hand. We're giving them bags today. At the convention, we're going to give them jackets, championship jackets. We're also going to work with their coaches to get them into college. These are Illinois State champions. Give them a big hand. And Whitney Young and Mark, give them a big hand on your feet. Say champions. We are the champions. We are the champions. We are the champions. We are. Put your hand together. We are the champions. Let's show them all over the world. Show them all over the world. Let the cameras roll. Show them all over the world. Whitney Young. And Morgan Park. And R. Give it up, R. Give it up, give it up. See, these are our children. You guys, get back and have your seats. We're going to give out the baskets when it's over. One of the most phenomenal developments of our time has been the oratorical strength and growth of Jonathan Jackson. Jonathan has a voice that cannot be mistaken now. He paid his dues at North Carolina A&T. He got his master's at Northwestern University. He's a practitioner in the art of speaking and thinking. And more than that, I love him so much. He means so much to all of us. An interpreter of our faith, an interpreter of our strength, and a challenger. Ladies and gentlemen, our national spokesman, Mr. Jonathan Jackson. Give it up, Jonathan.
Thank you, Dad. It's good to have your father still with you. Give my father a loving, wonderful round of applause, if you will. They just don't quite make them like that anymore. And I mean, one of the things that gives me fuel and inspiration to be before you every day, and I have a particular message for the young people in the audience today. First, I want to thank the principals of your school. I'd like to give a special debt of gratitude to our coaches. I'd ask that the coaches please stand. Coach Adams, wave your hand. Coach Slaughter, wave your hand. Coach Davis, raise your hand. Come on, you all, give them another wonderful. Let's give our assistant coaches a loving round of applause. And I want to thank them especially for two reasons. One, they have only taught these young men the discipline that it takes to be a champion. But more importantly, by bringing them out here today, this only reaffirms their commitment to character education. They are raising leaders that we can all be proud of. And for coaches, I thank you for that. Because young men, you're great now, and you're going to find schools. But looking a little further up the road, God bless you if you get to be my age. Your feet are gonna hurt. You're gonna meet the Itis brothers, Arthur-itis, tendonitis, burr-itis. You're gonna meet them all, and the ball is not gonna dribble and respond to you the way it's doing in your youth. But the character education that you have, not to be a ball player. If you decide to go to the NBA, I want you to be someone that all of your coaches can be proud of, because there they will see a grown man that is engaged in the business of sports that can speak truth to power and make us all proud. My comments today I would like to address is understanding the times. These are very confusing times, and you're seeing so much information. And I'm so proud of you for making it out on this Saturday morning. I know you're tired. I know you want to be at home. I know your classmates are home. But all we need is a few good people. All we need is a few. Fidel Castro said he had 85 people when he first took over to start a revolution in Cuba. He said he could have done it with 12. All you need is a few good people. We celebrate and love the name and the work of Jesus Christ. It weren't an army with him, it was only 12. Invited 13, and the rich man decided to turn away, didn't want to follow him. One man betrayed him, but all you need is a few. The coach couldn't take everybody on the team that tried out. And if you want to ask them, why did they choose you? It wasn't surely and solely because of your talents. He saw your potential beyond your talent. Did you have a work ethic? Would you be obedient? Would you be willing to be disciplined? Would you have the resilience to come back, fight back, and stay in the game? You can't win with quitters, and quitters never win. Understanding the times. Mr. Trump is out of the country this week. Let us pray for our president, and we would ask that they would enforce the travel ban immediately so he can stay gone. That has nothing to do with the Rainbow Push program. These comments are surely to be attributed only to Jonathan L. Jackson. I want you to grow up and be free and talk truth to power. And they should send Mr. Pence along with them. But understanding the times, and I don't want to talk about Mr. Trump in the negative. We have to go forward in the positive with a spirit of love. After he's gone, then what? After he's gone, then who? If you don't care about you, who's supposed to care more for you than yourself? If you don't want to win, the coach cannot make you a winner. The coach can only see the potential inside of you, give you the skills, but you have to bring the will to practice every day so the coach can cultivate your potential. But if you're not committed to work, and potential alone isn't enough, talent alone isn't enough. The truth be told, there's some better players in the school than you right now, but they're too cool to want to sweat. They're too hard-headed to want to listen. They're too arrogant to want to be humble, so the coach can't work with them. I'm asking you to keep on this course because I'm so proud of you. I am here today along with the Rainbow Push family and these coaches. These coaches are going to spend more time in these young men's lives than the fathers and the mothers during this high school year. These coaches are putting an impression on these young men's minds. These coaches have succeeded in the first phase of their work in instilling them and making them champions. And what is our city doing for these young men? What has the city done for our coaches? The coaches don't get paid nearly what they deserve. And we as a community don't exalt them and thank them enough for bringing us home and producing more and more champions. So I'm not here upset about other things. I am here joyous today. We're not at a funeral home. These same children have walked through the streets, literally through the valleys and the shadows of death. These young men have to take the bus home, get a ride with the coaches. Our school doesn't have buses to transport them to all of their event, but we've got paddy wagons sitting behind the police station ready to lock them up. Something's wrong. Understanding the times, I see two beautiful people in here today that mean so much to me, and I'm going to call them out. Dr. Michelle Willis, I'm going to ask you to come forward. Come on, Dr. Michelle Willis. Come forward. And I want you to grab a seat right up here next to my seat, next to my father right there. Come on, Michelle. Dr. Michelle Willis and I went to high school together. I knew her as a beautiful young lady. I knew her as a classmate and a study partner. I'm not going to tell you she was smarter than me, but you should know that by now. Have a seat there. She is the principal at Gillespie Elementary School. Got her PhD at Loyola University. But it wasn't too long ago when they were going through these massive school closings that my friend, Dr. Michelle Willis, called me. And I called upon you, and she told me her school was on the closure list. And what did she do? No tears, no crying. She says, we've got to fight to keep my school. She brought her school down here to Rainbow Push. Her school was taken off of the cutbacks. Her school stayed open. The teachers stayed in place. Follow me. No one got fired. The city cut her budget consistently. But let me show you what God does. On this year, on this day, stand up, Michelle, one last time. This is the principal of the year for the entire state of Illinois, and we want to thank you. I did not say for the city of Chicago. She is the principal of the year for the entire state of Illinois. We love you, Michelle. There's a lesson in that. If a teacher only teaches you reading, writing, and arithmetic, the A's, the B's, and the C's, if the teacher doesn't give you the character education to show you how to fight to keep your school open, that's not a good teacher. Michelle is a fighting principal teacher. My other good friend that's here today, she doesn't want me to acknowledge her. She's a teacher that's a Golden Apple winner. Came from Bradwell Elementary School, 2 times, double master's degrees. They put her school on the closing list to shut it down and turn it over to private outside contractors. Understand the times. But what does she do? Stand up, Miss Jackie White. There she is. Come on forward, Miss Jackie White. I got another seat for you. A kindergarten teacher came in here with those serious eyes, trying to figure out where she was coming to and what she was getting into, making sure she was going to be protective of her children. She didn't know what to expect when she came to Rainbow Push, and she saw exactly what she thought it was. Jackie White came here to fight. We went down to the Board of Education, had sit-ins. This is a fighting teacher, a Golden Apple winner, my friend, Miss Jackie White. When the Board of Education wanted to fire her dad, a teacher had to fight back. Now, as we talk about understanding the times, young people, the battle has always been over education. After voting, after the economics, it was always about education. Why? Because if you have an inferior education, you will be working for someone else's child. People that have an advantage want to keep an advantage? Do you get up at halftime and sit down in the third quarter so that someone else can catch up? Did you not see the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Celtics the other day? If you can blow them away, you run away with it. You don't let someone catch back up. But let me tell you, we've been held back, locked out, denied. We have to run twice as hard, go twice as fast. We have to fight. It's always been about excluding and denying and keeping you back. We've got to get up earlier to get to the school. We've got to study. You're not cheating the coach. You're not cheating the teacher. I want each of you as young men not to cheat yourself out of an education. I can give you the book. I can prepare the lesson. But if you don't show up with the desire, I'm not going to read every page in the book for you. We need an army to understand the times. When Betsy DeVos, the head of education, wants to cut back on the public funding for education, understand the times. Those that can't afford to put their children in private schools have already done it. They're only talking about bankrupting the public education. When the mayor says he's got a plan for the city of Chicago to keep our school doors open until the end of the year, and all that means is borrowing another $600 million, do we really think the city of Chicago is broke? Cranes are going up all over town. Restaurants are packed all over town. There's money for the police department, the fire department, for the parks. There's not money for the public school. Jim Crow, the spirit of segregation is alive. Young people have to come alive and fight. Dream of a world where they cut these paddy wagons in half and they put some roller bars in there and put a glass dome over the top, and they pick you up at the airport, pick you up at school, and you've got an air-conditioned truck to move you from game to game. We shouldn't be on the bus saying the city of Chicago is broke. Our children, when they achieve, they should be honored and applauded. Understanding the times when Mr. Trump is more concerned about the Kremlin and what's going on some financial misgivings, and we're not concerned about the murders that are going on in Chicago. Understand the time. They're more concerned about what Mr. Putin is doing to our election. Do we know how many people were kicked out of the polls in Wisconsin, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania? Not just Putin, but let's bring democracy home to the Americas. Here's how this works. The more I hear from you, the less I talk. The less I hear from you, the longer I'm going to talk, because I want you to understand my point. This is the 150th anniversary of Chicago State University. How can our school be teetering on insolvency? How can we have the third largest school district coach saying we have furlough days? Jim Crow speak. All furlough means is the teacher had to take off because the school didn't have enough money to pay the teacher. And what then does Jim Crow say? The spirit of a segregationist says the teacher is lazy and the teacher didn't want to work. Are you coming to work if you don't get paid? Is anybody going to show up to play in one of these NBA games if they don't get paid? Is anybody going to do any policing if they don't get paid? Well, why are you going to attack the union that has the most women in it, and these cowards never talk to the unions that have the most men in it? We've got to break up the spirit of misogyny and segregation. In conclusion, understanding the times, it's in the book of the Chronicles. When we hear about the Salvation Army that was born on this day, created by an evangelist, Mr. William Booth. He went to the East End of London and started a Salvation Army. You know them, they ring the bells on the Christmas time. He had an idea. He saw the stained glass windows of a church, but he started his ministry in a graveyard. And who did he go after in the spirit of Jesus Christ? He went after those that were on drugs. He went after the prostitutes. He went after the derelicts. He went after the destitute. He went after the dropouts. He went after those that have been kicked out, and left behind. He had an idea to have a Salvation Army. Have your spirit in God to go after the least of these. That's the Christ that we serve. We know Saul had to recruit for his army. We know that Jesus needs an army. Would you be willing to be a soldier in the army of the Lord? Could the Lord count on you to stand watch? Could the Lord count on you to be on guard? Could the Lord count on you to get your feet wet? Could he count on you to get your hands dirty? Can he count on you to have a clean heart? Can he count on you to show up not just for your case and your issue, but for everyone's issue? We need a Salvation Army. We need some young people to continue on, not just in your physical development, we're so proud of you, but the character and the community and the courageous development. Can you imagine all the wealth these coaches have created? How come we don't honor them? How come they've not been enshrined in the city and downtown? We've got young men playing for the Pelicans down there in New Orleans that came from these broken concrete streets. We've got them playing in Milwaukee. We've got them playing in Philadelphia. We've got them playing in New York City. Come on, y'all. These are the coaches that have made boys into men. I am so proud of you. God bless you. Understand the times. Let the good Lord use you. Teacher appreciation the new day at noon. Teacher appreciation the community hall today. And coaches, that mean you as well. I do not know how I would have made it through school except Mrs. Shelton, a teacher who looked at us and said, I will never teach down to you. Teachers who said, I will never teach it down to you. Could not have gone to college except some courses. If you will learn agility and practice hard, you can get the chance to go to college. Say, some teacher, some coach can change your life. Put your hands together for teachers and coaches today. I want to quickly give these young men, I want from R, stand up R high. R, come get your bags. Morgan Park, stand, Morgan Park.
Whitney Young, get up. Come and get your bags. We're going to honor them today. We recognize them today. We recognize them today. We recognize them today. They will get their jackets this summer at the Rainbow Push Convention. These are our champions. Mr. Photographer, get down there and take these boys' pictures. Now y'all come up on the stage. Let's hear it for the champions. Say, if I study as diligently with as much discipline as I practice basketball, I can slam dunk a thought like I slam dunk a basketball. Put your hands together if you really. Wherever you are today, I want you to join the Rainbow Push Coalition. Life is changing for the better for those who fight back. I know it's a tough political season, but this season will pass away. But those who have the strength and the character will continue. Don't forget, July 12th through 15th is our international convention. There'll be people from Africa. We're going to do a special reach out this week to Venezuela. We cannot watch Venezuela right in our own hemisphere just and it says Venezuelans deserve food and bread and beans and water and meat. We cannot stand by and watch Venezuela disintegrate. Gillespie, we're proud of you guys. We're going to keep on fighting for you too. Let us pray. Oh God, our God, how excellent is thy name in all the heavens and earth. We thank you so much for so much. For being a God unto us, for being a source of light in darkness and hope and despair and healing where there's hurt. We thank you so much. As our baby said, it's not about black and white, it's about wrong and right. Let's do the right thing. Let's do justice and love mercy and take our struggle to higher ground. Use us as instruments to put out the fires of hatred in this world today, the fires of bigotry, the fires of racism. Use us to end the wars, to develop the skills to cure cancer and save lives and health care for all of God's children. We thank you, we need you, we bless you, God, today. We say so glibly, God bless America. You've already blessed us beyond measure. We want to bless you. We take care of our children, suffer them, come unto us. We bless heaven. We want to make heaven rejoice today. We want you to be proud of us today. We thank you so much. Amen. Put your hands together. As our young men stand here just for one moment, Lou Myers coming. Lou is an athlete back in the day from Houston, Texas. I want to take a picture of these star athletes. For a long time, they always worked out some scheme. Who are the coaches you guys up here? They worked out some scheme, but kids from Chicago couldn't become state champions. Coaches then. Coaches, come up here, coaches. Give it up for the coaches, give it up for the coaches. You do know that most of these coaches are volunteers. Most of these coaches are volunteers. If we left the system, they're trying to remove athletics, art, and music. We don't just want STEM, we want STEAM. Science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So schools need choirs, football, basketball, track, golf, tennis, oratory. We must develop our minds and our spirits with art. We can. Let me ask y'all a question real quick. Whitney Young, how many hours do y'all, how many days a week y'all practice? Every day? No, coach, I'm at 5. You know y'all practice every day. How many hours do you practice? How many hours do you practice? 2.5, When you have practice, can your girlfriends come to practice? Can you have radio in them practice? Can you have TV in practice? You get tired, just sit down and tell coach, I'm tired, just sit down. You mean you get tired of what you do? Huh? You get tired of what you do? Suck it up and keep going. Now let me ask you, do you study 7 days a week? Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. You study 2 hours a night? Every night? How you got your mouth hanging wide open? You ever have the radio on while you're studying? TV? You ever call your girlfriend? You get tired of what you do. You know, the reason I raise that point is that whatever we do consistently with discipline and high goals, we achieve. We are the best in the world at basketball because the playing field is even, the rules are public, the goals are clear, the referees are fair, the score is transparent. The same energy that makes great basketball players make great physicists and chemists and doctors and lawyers and judges. Put your hand together like you mean that. All the teachers who are here today, teachers stand, teachers stand, teachers. This is Teachers Day. We have a teacher, stand, give them a hand. Stand up, teachers. Coaches, I want to meet with you briefly. We must do something. Coaches, extra for our boys. We must take them on the trip. We must do. I want to see R and Whitney Young and Morgan Park do something together. You know, it's a scandal up here in these urban ghettos where our children can't function together, live in this. The west side can't come to the south side. Ain't that uncivilized? The football teams play and don't have a band, don't have cheerleaders, don't have a pep rally, can't go to the other schools. So we deserve better than that. That's why I was at the school in Whitehaven in Memphis last week to see students at Whitehaven in Memphis have dance groups and choirs and bands and pep rallies. It must be that way at R, to say R and Whitney Young and Morgan Park. We can, we must, and we will. Give our guys another big hand. Everybody got a bag? Take your seats again. I want the coaches, step here, coaches. I want the coaches to keep your bag, guys. It's your bag. Keep your bag. And coaches, before the summer is over, we want to do something special for you, coaches. And we want to take our guys someplace this summer. Y'all figure out, I don't care if in the place, but Green Lake. See, when our children do well, we must honor them. When they do well, we must honor them. Don't just see them as objects of funerals and making the funeral homes rich. Give these coaches a real serious. On your feet for the coaches. Two things happening. One of them is our convention. Who will be a volunteers for the convention? Stand. Volunteers for the convention. We need volunteers for convention. Convention meets today at 12 o'clock as well in the library. Volunteers for the Betty in the chapel. The convention volunteers meet in the chapel at 12 o'clock. In the Clay Evans Chapel, volunteers meet at 12 o'clock in chapel. Teachers at 12 o'clock in the community hall, okay? If you're not a member of Rainbow Push, you would like to join Push, you'd like to be a card-carrying member of Push, raise your hand. If you want to join Push and don't have the money, raise your hand. Boys, raise your hand. Know y'all lying. I know you got money. You wouldn't be that sharp.
I want all the ball players to have a membership card. I'm gonna underwrite it myself. Give all the ball players. I want y'all to come to the convention this summer. Put on your sport jacket. Either we'll get you a coach, we can either get them a regular jacket or get them a blazer. But I want the guys to be dressed up for the convention this summer. I want them to feel that their accomplishment means something. They can't be a champion one day and just melt into the environment the next day. These are our children. Honor them. Reward Bishop Jones. That coat fits me. That seemed like an unusual coat you're wearing there, doctor. That's a bishop's coat, I understand. I'm an at-large bishop. If you're not a member of Rainbow Push, we need your support. If you'd like to join Push, raise your hand. You'd like to join, raise your hand. You'd like to join, raise your hand. All right? I want all of the ball players, I want to give them a membership today. All the athletes, raise your hand. Athletes, raise your hand. That doesn't apply to the coach. Coach, y'all need to buy members. Y'all got jobs somewhere. If you'll give $100 or more, please stand. We need your support. Oh, Restoration Missionary Baptist Church. All white banquet, Friday, May 26th. Reverend, give Reverend a hand. You'll sacrifice and give at least $100, please. Stand. We need your support. As we honor our youth, as we teach and inspire them, we need you to stand with us. Invest in our children's education, not in jails. Say invest in schools, not in jails. In life, not in graveyards. You'll sacrifice and give at least $100, please stand. Dwight, you have money too. No, where you got it from, but I know you have it. You give at least $100. Come forward, please. Come here, buddy. Bishop Jones, I'm so glad to see you. Oh, the swiper. Where's the credit card swiper? Get John right fast. Vince, get John the right fast. Do a sacrifice and give at least $50. This won't take long. Do a sacrifice. Jeanette, call John upstairs. Sister Jackie White, $100. Thank you very much, Sister Jackie. You'll give at least $50. Friend, take our appeal seriously. This is how we survive. We don't have government grants. You sustain this struggle. You make it happen. You'll give at least $50. Please stand wherever you are. You'll sacrifice. You didn't mean to do it. You're doing it because it feels right to you. Sister McMorris, I'm glad to see you today. I need to see you a minute when this is over. You'll give at least $25. Stand. I want you to give as you've been blessed. Say everybody can give something. Give as you are blessed to give. How many of you guys graduated this year? Stand. How many of y'all graduated this year? How many of y'all graduated this year? Where you going to college? Howard? Evansville, North Springfield? Wisconsin? New Orleans? Loyola? Who else? Morgan Park? Or where you going to college? Stand.
Lord, you are
Susan, thank you so much.
Lord, you
Dr. Michelle Willis, $100. Thank you so much. Thank Dr. Michelle.
Lord, you
You'll give something. You've not yet given. Give something.
Lord, you are awesome.
You give at least $25. Please stand.
Please give our youth choir a big hand. Give them a big hand. Give our baby. Keep on singing. You know what I want y'all to do some more. We shall overcome. I didn't like the way y'all do that. We shall overcome. Yeah. You've not yet given. Stand. You've not yet. You'll give something. Please stand. Teachers stand again. I want teachers to go upstairs. Keep playing. I want teachers to go up. Follow Jeanette up. Said teachers go upstairs. Teacher Appreciation Day. Those who volunteer for the convention, I want you to stand again. Those who volunteer for the convention, I want you to stand and meet us in the Evans Chapel. I want the coaches and ball players to stand. Coach, take them to the Evans Chapel, the ball players and the coaches. Go to Evans. Johnny, follow him. The coaches and the ball players go to Evans Chapel. Coaches and ball players go to Evans Chapel. I like that, Mr. Piano Man. I like that. Some volunteers for our convention. Please help us. Let us stand together. Amen. Leave on amen. Everybody stand. Everybody stand.